All right, good morning, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well.
Oh, do you need this?
Nope, I got another one. Thank you, though.
I'm sorry.
No problem. No problem. It's first come, first serve around here. That's how we roll. Okay. All right, everybody doing well? Okay. All right, so last week we went through chapter 16. We didn't do it, though, in the Hebrew because it's really not particularly accessible in the Hebrew, at least for someone like me. So we did it in the English, and I'll just kind of recap it over here. This was chapter 16 in English. That's on page 58. And the basic idea was that we were working with the mashal, the parable that he had given earlier about the glass blower, that the breath is in the mouth of the blower, and then it goes out into the tube, and then from there into the molten glass, which then shapes the glass, and it stays there. That's where it ends and remains. So the idea is the same when it comes to the various levels of neshama and nefesh and ruach, and that it starts in Hashem's mouth, so to speak, meaning within Hashem's essence, and then Hashem kind of expels it to a degree while still connected. That flow is still there, and it goes through all the different processes until it ends up in its resting space, so to speak, and that is here in our world. So he was kind of working with that, and he quoted the Medrash that says that Hashem, without going through the details of the Medrash, basically what the Medrash is saying is that when we are involved in Torah, we are asking for Hashem's wisdom directly, meaning that we want it from the mouth, so to speak. We want it to be coming from Hashem, from that source, without needing all the other steps along the way. And that's something that we were actually able to receive when we were at Sinai. And the first two of the commandments we heard directly from Hashem, meaning without any sort of intermediary, without going through any processes, just direct from Hashem to us. Now, the rest of us couldn't handle that, and therefore we had to ask him to stop and start speaking through Moshe for the other 8. But Moshe himself was on that level that he had, incorporated the neshama into himself, and therefore he was able to handle that experience. Michelle, they're out here. He was able to handle that experience and live through it, obviously, as he did, and he continued to share Hashem's message with us, as Hashem used Moshe as the conduit, kind of like that straw that connects the blower with the glass. So, what we have is this neshama that kind of lives above us and is able to influence and send us sparks, as we've mentioned many times. And those sparks are able to help us understand things that we wouldn't otherwise, and revealing the secrets of the Torah that we wouldn't otherwise be capable of understanding, all through our Torah learning. Okay, so that's the that's the gist of chapter 16. Any comments or questions on that before we move on? No, we're good. Everybody reviewed during the week, I'm sure. So it's all.
I just thought you would mention about school starting up again, and then because that's really his muscle also.
Oh, kids going to school, yeah.
So I thought you were going to throw that in there.
Okay, shout out to Rambam and all those who teach at Rambam or send their children to Rambam or did send their children to or will send their children to Rambam, are considering adopting children to send them to Rambam. Yes, and the crossing guards who don't work at Rambam. Yes, there's no doubt about it. The mashal of the Medrash is a child who's coming from yeshiva. And the idea there is that a child who is engrossed in Torah is, at least should be, it's not necessarily true today as much as it used to be, but a child who's engrossed in Torah really should be able to be fully engrossed, because children had much less distraction before recent times. They had much less distraction. They were much less involved in other things, and when they got involved in something, they were fully involved in it, kind of like they are today with their video games. But the involvement can be pure, and the involvement can be absolute, and that is the level of involvement that we need to try to have as well, and to kind of shut off all the distractions. And it is through that we're able to request of Hashem to receive straight from His mouth, and not through any intermediaries. And that is, of course, what Rambam strives to accomplish with the children. And if any of your children are kind of working, if any of your children are working contrary to that mission, please have a word with them. Okay. Yes.
But you don't have to answer it now. I don't want to hijack the chapter 17, but there's
Go for it.
something that is related to that.
Go ahead.
Okay. So back, let's see, this was back in video number
Oh,
6.
okay.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
you were
So black
talking
and white.
about someone being fully engrossed in Torah, like the idea of like going to work the fields and whatever else, or you totally learning Torah.
Oh
all the
yeah.
time.
Okay, you're going way back. Yeah.
Way back. I know, because I had to. 'Cause-
Yes.
Yeah. So this is somewhat related. How would you know that you are the person that has to be fully engrossed in learning Torah and not working?
How would you know? Okay, so Jody is asking something which is really going back a while. I hope this jogs the memory a little bit. But we had a disagreement there in the Gemara about the proper approach in life. And the question was to be fully engrossed in Torah and not to even consider anything else, or to be involved in Torah as much as possible, but to live kind of a natural life on the side. And we said that many tried to be like those who could do it fully and were unsuccessful, and however, many were successful doing the other way. So what we discussed over there was that there are individuals who are in fact capable of being that on that level, of being the fully engrossed. So Jody wants to know, how do you know? Well, I'm going to venture to say, if you're one of them, you'll know.
Okay.
That's going to be my initial answer. But I will give you an example. Reb Chaim Kanievsky was, I think by most standards, the greatest sage of our time. Just passed away a couple of years ago. His father was the Stipler Gaon, Yaakov Kanievsky, and he was world renowned, as his son Reb Chaim was as well. And the Stipler told his son when he was young, he said, "You are not to take any positions." He said, "You stay and you learn and you learn and you learn, and you're not to be involved in anything else." And that's exactly what he did. And he went on to become, like I said, arguably the greatest sage of our day. His father told him, that's what you got to do. You're cut out for it. And he was able to tell that was his goal and that was what he was cut out for in life. And he gave him that direction and said, this is what you do. And that's exactly what he did. There were others who never held positions, even in yeshivas and things, of the Chazon Ish, right? You know, there was an akol that he learned in. It's called Kol Chazon Ish, but it wasn't. He wasn't officially involved in any public position until he was 70. And then the other leaders of the generation said, we need you to step up. We need you to start getting into the public light. But for 70 years of his life, he said, that's devoted to me. After 70 years, that's extra that Hashem needs me to use for the rest of Klal Yisrael, fine. But until that time, he was able to do that, and he did. So I think those who are capable are given success. And if they're committed, then their success becomes very apparent to them. And obviously, they have to be willing to live that life. That's a life of having nothing. You're not working, you're not earning a living, and you're living with nothing. So those people have to be ready to do that. And obviously, if they're distracted by that, then it's not going to work. So, but that was what Reb Shimon was coming to say. Reb Shimon was saying, this is the way to live. The way to live is to ignore everything else. Just do this. And so I think those who are capable are aware, and as they go, they do.
Makes sense. Yeah, no, there was something you mentioned about the person who knows that that's what they're supposed to be doing, but then chooses not to.
Yes.
But they know. So that makes more sense though. If it's something that either like a feeling they get or someone tells them or whatever else. Because in a lot of these classes, like I asked you that kind of the same question, how do you know X, Y, Z?
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the most definitive. That's how you know that you've given me yet. So.
That's it.
Cool.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
All right, what else? Anything else? Yes.
Is that a glass blower metaphor?
Yeah.
Is that from before the sin or after the sin? Meaning when Hashem blows the neshama, it needs to have a clean. And after the sin, you said there's some above us. How does that? Maybe that doesn't work so literally.
Well, what that means is simply again, this is just kind of recapping what we had discussed last week. What that means is that we are no longer on the level to be able to contain the neshama within ourselves. We're tainted with sin, and that happened from Adam on the first day of man's existence. That sin made it impossible for the neshama to exist within the body. Moshe Rabbeinu was the one individual in history who was able to get back to that level, to the point that the neshama was able to inhabit the body. But for everybody else, that's not an option anymore. We have fallen through that initial sin, that the neshama is not going to rest within us, but rests above us. So it doesn't affect the metaphor, it's just a question of where. Okay?
But Rabbi,
Just a second. Go ahead.
Let her finish.
Okay, Gula.
but we say Shema Shenafachta Ba'apenu, and from that there's an indication that it is somewhere physically, so to speak, inside us.
Okay, very good question. So Gula is asking that we say in the brachos in the morning that we thank Hashem for the neshama which He blew into our nostrils. So that is a reference to the story of creation, in which it says Vayipach ba'apu nishmas chayim, that Hashem blew the neshama of life into Adam. Now, that state has not been maintained, but that was the creation of man. So that's not referring to us. That's referring to what happened then, which we are, still the products of, so to speak.
So that was before the sin.
Yeah. Okay. What else? Wow. Silence.
We know the spark is inside us. So you said it's the
What do you mean when you say the spark? What spark are you referring to?
Everything.
No, not everything's inside us. That's the whole point.
Not everything is inside us, but there are a lot of references to a spark, and so it's being inside.
I don't know what you are referring to, but we said that the ruach and nefesh are within us. It's just the neshama which is not. Okay, what else? Nothing? All right, moving on. All right, so here we go. Chapter 17. So if you're in the English, it's on page 60. If you're on the Hebrew, it is on page Chaf Hey. Okay, here we go. Unavar inyan his kashrus hasholish bechinos nefesh ruach neshama echa bechaver. Now we're going to describe how the relationship works between the three levels of nefesh, ruach, and neshama. And really, this concept is the source and the point of the concept of tshuva, as he will explain. And this is kol pri hasir hachatos minefesh hachaitas. The concept of being able to remove sin from the soul of the person that sins, the tara mechelas dumasa, and to purify it from the stains of impurity that the sin brought. Okay, so we're gonna see how that works. So he explains as follows: Adam, a person needs to delve into and try to really understand how much he needs to pay attention, and to contemplate. I'll call prate inyane avaydase, the Bayra Yisbar Shemai. Every detail of his service to his Creator. That service needs to be whole and complete. Kedaisha utahira, it needs to be pure and holy. V'yir lefashvesh ulemashmesh tamid b'chol ma'asav v'diburav umachshavaisav. And a person needs to constantly be searching and examining all of his actions, all of his words, all of his thoughts. Shehem hashloisha b'chinas hanal, which are related to the three levels, as we've mentioned previously, of the nefesh, ruach, and neshama, relating to action, speech, and thought. Perhaps a person has not yet fulfilled the will of Hashem with the level that the person's neshama is on, b'hasaga, as he understands it. And every day, a person should redouble their efforts and strengthen themselves in the Torah and in the mitzvahs, lahashlim nafshay v'ruchay v'nishmasay, to complete, to perfect their nefesh, ruach, and neshama, v'toyharim kasher nesanam, that they should be pure as the way they were given. Okay. Achashayira be'ein sichlai, once you've seen through the eye of your understanding, that Hashem's goal, what Hashem wants, so to speak, is to give you the goodness that is to come. And Hashem yearns, so to speak, for the correction of any nefesh that has sinned. That even if it has already sunk into the depths of sin and of evil, nevertheless, everything can be returned to its place and to its source, because no one has ever truly gone. Okay, so that was a lot. And this is, I will say, probably the first very practical element of the Nefesh Hachaim. And what he's saying is that if a person looks at life with an honest look, they'll understand that the reason we exist is because Hashem wants to give us reward. We discussed that plenty in Derech Hashem, that is the purpose of creation. Hashem wants to give us, and the way He gives us is by us earning it, because otherwise it doesn't feel right. So when we earn it, that's how we get to the goal. Now, the way to do that, though, is with work. You don't just start there. You don't just cruise through life. If you end up the way if you just kind of follow your cruising, your path that you're just on, and you just kind of go along with it, and you make it through life that way, then you haven't really accomplished. You haven't really grown. And the purpose is to grow. Now, the way to do that on a practical level is to examine everything you do. Examine everything you say. Examine everything you think. And ask yourself, how can I make this more in line with what Hashem wants? Because it's unlikely that there is anything that we do that is fully and completely in line with what Hashem wants. It's unlikely. It can happen, but it's unlikely. It's very rare that we do anything with the full intensity, the full joy, the full intention of what it deserves, even when we're doing the right things. How many times do we come to we sit down to davening and we say Hashem's name without thinking what Hashem's name represents? Every day. How often do we listen to the Torah reading and we're spacing out? Probably every time there's laning. How often do we give tzedakah and we're not thinking, I'm doing this because this is what Hashem wants? Probably most of the time, right? So it's hard to really ever say, I'm doing this at 100% capacity. And that's okay, because we're not cut out for doing everything we do at 100% capacity. Moshe Rabbeinu was the one who did that, and even he made mistakes. But we can all improve on everything that we do if we put our minds to it. Now, putting your mind to everything at once is not going to work. Just letting you know. It's just not going to work. You got to do things slowly. You got to focus on specifics. You got to pick things that you're going to work on and work on them. But there's basically nothing in life that we can't work on. There's pretty much nothing that we can't improve on. Everything can be improved. So with that being the case, the goal to tshuva is to examine what I do. Examine my life. Start with the first thing you do in the morning. The second you wake up. Just think about that moment. What are you thinking the second you wake up? There you go. So that's the first thing to improve. Right? It's that first moment where your initial instinct of the moment you wake up isn't thank you Hashem for giving me another day to live. And that's why the first thing you're supposed to say is Marda'ani, that we are thankful, because that's supposed to train us to be thinking that way. That the second we wake up, we should be filled with gratitude that we woke up. Right? So that's a great place to start, because it's the first moment of your day. And then you can move out from there. Or there are perhaps different specific areas in life that we really have identified already, that these are things we need to improve on, and start making some concrete changes. Instead of just thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna work on that, right? That doesn't ever work.
2026,
New Year, exactly. So what have you improved on this year, Will? Just like the rest of us. Just like the rest of us.
I did wake up late.
You're here.
But I got a shower.
Yeah.
I got
You're
my
here,
emails done.
and you don't smell, and we're all very glad.
Yes, thank you.
Right? This is good, right? So the idea is that we all need to have things in life that we're working on. We need to be able to examine ourselves, examine our lifestyle, things that we're doing, things that we're not doing, and try to hone it, try to get it in a better place. And if you do that, that is the epitome of tshuva. That is how tshuva works. Tshuva works when you can uproot what you've done wrong and be in a different place. So if we're able to work on anything, that's already a step in the right direction. To be able to work on everything is unrealistic. But at least today, or this week, or this month, pick something that you're going to work on and take stock after a month and see where am I now compared to where I was a month ago when I started working on this. And how often am I going to do it? And what's my plan? Something that I'm actually going to do, something real, not just decide that I'm going to fix it, right? You have to do something real to make it happen. And if you have a plan and you stick to it, then you'll be able to look back and say, okay, this was my area of improvement for this day, week, month, year, whatever it is. And now I'm going to either move that up to the next gear, or I'm going to move over and work on something else. Whatever it is, we always should be in a state of trying to improve. And the improvement doesn't have to be in action. It can be in speech. It can be in thought. These all need to be worked on. Or it's not a crazy thing to try to pick one of each to work on. One action, one area of speech, and one area of thought. That's reasonable. That's something you can do. That's not going to overlap. It's not going to be overwhelming. But we need a plan. We need to work on things. We can't just cruise through life and say, well, yeah, I'm overall, I'm improving. I'm in a better place than I was 20 years ago. Okay, that's great. But that's not enough. Because you're still probably the same place you were 15 years ago. Because you made that change already 20 years ago. And you haven't done anything since then. And that's a problem.
I was in high school 15 years ago.
Well, we're glad you graduated. So it's
I was
just...
in high school 15 years ago.
Maybe it was middle school.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, well, math is a good place to try to improve on.
That's not the type of thing you mentioned in this group.
Anyway, so that's what he's talking about over here. So we all can improve basically everything. So there's nothing that you can choose to improve that's like a bad place to improve. Now, if your improving is not related to Hashem's service, then that doesn't count. Like you can't say, well, yeah, I'm going to work on making sure that I am updating my living room, right? That's not what we're looking for here, right? We're looking for spiritual growth. So it's got to be something in the area of your service to Hashem, but there's no wrong answer to this. There's no wrong choice. There's nothing in the area of service to Hashem that you can choose and I'll be like, oh, no. That shouldn't be a place you should work on. You should be working on something else instead. So pick anything. It really doesn't matter. Anything you work on is going to be a good thing as long as it's relating to your service to Hashem and improving it. And that is his point over here. Okay.
Rabbi, can I make a suggestion?
Uh-oh. All right. Go ahead. Careful
This
there.
is a debate teacher voice, but just practically, something I've noticed that works for a lot of the students and for myself is if you pick someone and you pick somebody to do it with. Like my husband and I, we've been working to speak Lashon Hara, so together over supper we have a box of Luffy. And you have somebody to do it with, you have that accountability, and it makes it actually much more likely to stick, I think.
Mm-hmm. You hear this?
And a
So
lot of the
Geula
students-
and her husband sit down every night and work on saying Lashon Hara. That's amazing. I have some people who would love to join you. I got lots of takers.
But even with the students at Neve, we came up with a system where they'll have pairs and they'll keep Shabbos together, and then that keeps them accountable to someone else.
Okay.
And
All right.
we
There it
found
is.
It really works.
Now you're getting serious. Now you want to actually give practical advice to people here. I don't know. All right. Well, okay. I'll put it out there. Geula is saying people should actually take this seriously. Okay. I don't know that I subscribe to that, but no. But it is. It is a great idea to have someone else involved. Is very motivating, and it's the accountability is critical. So if you're trying to do it yourself, it's less likely to work. But
Because working with people is very annoying.
sometimes working with people is annoying. Yes, that is correct. And sometimes annoying is the best way to make progress, though.
But do everything myself.
Working Lashon Hara would be a tshuva or a tikkun on the ruach.
Yes, Lashon Hara is speech related, exactly.
Action related would be nefesh, thought related would be neshama. But each of these could be, you could do tshuva on each of these levels of our neshama.
Yeah, that's the goal. The goal is to work on all of these different things. So not everything at once, but you can certainly pick one of each category at once, and that's fine. And listen, there are plenty of people out there who are capable of working on 5 things at a time. You know, and especially if it's not the kind of thing that comes up every day, like Will, for example.
Like three volunteer jobs, 1 regular job, coming to school every day.
Yeah, listen, these are good things. So it's important to know yourself, and if you feel like you can make progress in one area, start there. And if you get a weekend and you're like, this is too easy, I can do more, fine. Then address that then and take on more. But start with one thing and make some progress. And Geula is offering to do anything with anybody. So you might have about 20 offers, Geula, for things you're going to be working on. Great job.
How much is she about social media?
As long as I explain it all in Hebrew, I'm good.
Well,
Okay.
If Gula would take us out of Gullus.
Yeah.
Mine, her grandmother. She come see her grandmother.
That's right. You need to work on your grandmother, she just said. What?
I said,
What?
her grandmother was here, so she came here. She spent time with the grandmother and us.
Uh-huh. Okay. Geula, you're being recruited to come down. Not going to say who. All right. Here we go. Moving on.
Buy me a ticket. We're on
Buy her a
call.
ticket. Now we're talking business here. Okay. Va'inyan. The idea is as follows. Ki yadua b'seder hishtalshelos ha'olamas, because it is known that the system of the connection of the worlds is shabachina ha'alyana shabachal olam, that the top aspect of every world, miskasher mechina tachtana shalom sha'alav, is connected with the lowest aspect of the world above it. And he quotes the Zohar over here, which we don't need to go through. We'll actually get back to that Zohar. We'll do it separately because it's somewhat related, but kind of not. And that's exactly the way it works when it comes to the connections between the nefesh, ruach, and neshama of a person. Because every aspect of a matter of holiness is made up of 10 specific elements, 10 components, which are called the spheres of that, whatever that means. And the top aspect of the nefesh, connects with the 10th, the lowest level of the ruach, and the top level of the ruach, Miskasheres and B'chinat Tachton Neshama. It's connected with the lowest level of the neshama. V'haneshama gam kein, and the neshama too, Miskasheres u'misdabekes u'b'chinat sheresh neshama, is connected at its highest point to the source of the neshama, which is Said Knesset Yisrael. He says this is the secret of the concept known as Knesset Yisrael, Shehisharish HaKnesiyah Shal Kol Neshama Es Klal Yisrael Yachad, which is the source of the gathering of all of the neshamas of Klal Yisrael together.
This is Keser Malchus, Keser Malchus, Keser Malchus. High, low, high, low, high, low.
The top of each is connected to the bottom of the one above it.
Right, so the Malchus would be the top of the lower, and then the chain would continue.
Yeah. Yeah.
How does that relate to the world? Did you say that somewhere there's 10?
Each matter of Kedusha, he said, is made up of 10 levels, 10 components.
So each Nefesh Ruach Neshama has 10?
Yes.
Are they the same 10?
In a way, yes.
I mean, they're called the same word.
Yeah, which is because they have the same characteristics.
Right.
The words aren't just titles.
Right.
Right. Gotcha. So
Are you going to go through those 10?
No.
Does he go through those 10?
Not here.
I need a graphic organizer.
Yeah, we
It's
charge.
a chain.
Okay.
It's just a chain. That's all there is to it.
All right. So if I'm writing this out, you have these like relate to Nefesh, 10 levels there, or 10 worlds, 10. Are levels and worlds the same thing?
No.
Okay.
Every world has levels.
Has 10 levels.
Yes.
And how many worlds are there?
No idea.
No, infinite. Cool. All right.
Probably finite, but I don't know.
Well, I only have so much room on the page, so I'm just.
So don't draw them all.
No, I'm just going to draw one as an example. I need a graphic organizer. Sorry.
It's a chain.
My brain. Okay, I'm writing a chain. Got it.
That's it. It's just a chain. The idea is that every level is connected to the one above it. That's the whole idea. That's all you need to know. And just like the links in the chain, each one is connected to the one next to it, above it, and the one below it. So too, every aspect of Kedusha works the same way. So there is a chain that connects the source with everything along the chain, all the way down to the end of the chain. There is a connection that is in a way direct and in a way indirect. You can kind of look at it both ways, but there is a connection between the top of the chain and the bottom of the chain by having connections between each link and the next. Okay. Okay, so V'zeh she'amar Avigail David, and this is what Avigail said to David HaMelech. V'haisen nefesh adonai tzrua b'tzar hachayim, eis Hashem Elokecha. The nefesh of my master, referring to David HaMelech, should be bound in the bond of life with Hashem. What does this mean? Shegam b'chinas nafshay tizdabe k'v'yachal b'yisbarach. That even the nefesh, which is the lowest level of David, should be connected to Hashem. Okay? And he continues here. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to skip this first Zayar here and go to the next one. Parshas Achrei Tana, and in Parshas Achrei, the Zayar writes, the pasuk says, "V'haisen nefesh adoni tzrua b'tzar hachayim, nishmas adoni mibaylei." It should have said the neshama of David HaMelech should be connected to Hashem, because the neshama is the highest part, and that's the part that connects directly to Hashem. Why does it say the nefesh, which is the lowest part? Ella, so rather, what's the explanation? Kamal da Amran, like we've explained, the Zakah Chulkei and the Tzadikaya, that how how fortunate is how great is the portion of the righteous. The Kula is Kasher Dabada, that the entire chain is all connected. Nefesh Baruach, Ruach B'Neshama, Neshama B'Kuchabrichu. The Nefesh is connected to the Ruach, and the Ruach is connected to the Neshama, and the Neshama is connected to Hashem. Ishtakach, the Nefesh Tzura B'Tzar Chaim. So that means that the entire thing is all bound and connected to the source, being Hashem himself. So the idea is that through nurturing these connections and having the chain being healthy and intact at every link without any breaks, then the bottom of the chain is truly connected to the top, to the source. So what Abigail was saying was that even the lowest aspect of David HaMelech should be directly connected to Hashem by having the entire chain functioning. And every part of it should be healthy and solid and connecting one level to the next. And in doing so, every aspect of David HaMelech himself would be connecting directly to Hashem. And that's something that people are capable of. So this isn't the level of Moshe Rabbeinu where the neshama is contained within. It's not what we're talking about over here. We're talking about, even as it stands, that the neshama is outside and the ruach and neshama are inside. Nevertheless, we can forge a connection that is solid and strong that will allow for the entirety of the chain to be one unending link to Hashem himself.
This is nefesh as far as behaviors go, nefesh bahami, like connecting David. When it's speaking of David, I want to make sure I'm understanding this. David, it was saying that Abigail, or from Shmuel actually, saying that David's nefesh, meaning his behaviors, were connected to Hashem.
No, I don't think it's about the behaviors. I think the nefesh reflects the behaviors, meaning our behaviors affect our nefesh. But the discussion was about the nefesh itself.
So I just want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. Neshama, thoughts, ruach, speech, and nefesh,
again,
behaviors.
those are relationships. Those aren't one and the same. The neshama isn't the thought, but the thought affects the neshama.
Okay.
The speech isn't the ruach, but the speech affects the ruach. The actions aren't the nefesh, but they affect the nefesh. So the discussion here is that the nefesh, and obviously everything on the way up, should all be solidly connected to the source. And of course that's going to require perfecting the speech, perfecting the action, perfecting the thought.
That's what I'm trying to say. I guess I'm trying to fine-tune the practicality of it. Like
This was a prayer. This was Abigail asking that David should merit to have this connection, which is what we say at every levaya, that we ask that the nefesh should be tzura b'tzura chayim, that the nefesh of the individual who passed should be entirely bound up with Hashem, meaning that whole chain should be intact to allow that nefesh even to connect with Hashem.
Why do we say that, we say by Kiamole also, why do we do that afterwards?
Well, at that point we're talking about the neshama. You'll notice that the term we use is not the nefesh, we use the term neshama. Or do we? Actually, not sure about that. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, but the wording that we use. Yeah, that's nishmasei, right? Where'd it go? Where is it? Where did they put the Kalmalis in here?
It should be by there.
Oh, here it is. It's after. They put it after Inkalakane. After Yukon Porka. Yeah, the Yitzhar B'tzar Chaim es Nishmasai. So here we're talking about the neshama. That the neshama should be bound up in the bonds of life. So I don't know why we changed it and why we talk about the neshama specifically over there and not the nefesh. And maybe after death, the nefesh and the neshama kind of, I don't know. Nefesh, I don't.
Nefesh and ruach retract back into the
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what happens after death, and it could be that after death, talking about the neshama includes all of that. I don't know exactly. I don't know that separation continues like it does while we're here in the physical body, right? When we're in the physical body, they can't really connect. Once we're out of the physical body. Did she say this while David was alive? I think so. I think so.
So that would make sense. That would be consistent.
Yeah.
It's in Shmuel Aleph that he's still alive.
Well, it says it's in Shmuel Aleph, so yes. So yeah. So that's the idea. So we're the connection is what was being asked for here. That connection should be strong, and that should create the full extent of the chain to go all the way from the bottom until the source, all the way at the top.
He said parenthetically, i.e., like the animal aspect. That's Nefesh Bahami. Is that like that?
Hold on. I got to see the context. Where are you?
On 61, meaning that also Nefesh element. Then you see over there in the brackets.
Yeah.
The animal aspect, like of David.
It means the life. It means the life force. Yeah. Yeah. Everything. Everything.
Say that in Hebrew.
No, he doesn't. But that's the author's understanding of it.
That would be Nefesh Bahami would be impulses, our life, our urges.
Not doesn't have to be impulse. It's everything. It's the life force that keeps us alive. It's not. I mean, it's not limited to impulse. It's you know.
But the life force that I'm just trying to, I guess I'm just trying to find too. The life force that keeps us alive. How do we do that? Like, so there's going to have to be practicalities. Otherwise, this is just very theoretical and cerebral.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, he's not.
He hasn't gotten.
No, he did. I mean, that's what he mentioned in the beginning. He mentioned in the beginning is that every aspect of life can be improved on, and that's how you accomplish it. Well, there's behavioral, there's thought, there's speech, all these things. They can all be improved on. So as we improve, then the quality of the connection improves as well.
Is the metaphor
Okay.
of the chain like DNA, like time? Or is it just a one-dimensional chain?
I don't understand what you're asking.
You know, I was taught that the way Yiddishkeit views time is in a spiral, like, so like something feels familiar, like say Malchus would be at 3 different places, because it would be in the same place on the spiral. Or is it the chain that we're thinking of, a one-dimensional chain that is just...
I'm still not understanding fully what you're saying, but let me tell you what he's saying. Maybe that'll answer your question.
Okay.
He's understanding that there is a linear connection between each link. Now, every link has a top, a middle, and a bottom. So the top of every link is linked to the bottom of the link above it.
So
Right.
Malchus is always connected
So
to...
each top is what we could, if you'd like to call it Malchus, you can call it Malchus.
Whatever it
So
is.
every link has a top, which you can call that a Malchus. And each one looks the same as the one below it. Now, they're obviously ascending in levels, and each one's going to be slightly different than the one above it and the one below it. But each link has a top, middle, and bottom.
But when you're talking about a chain, is it like a flat chain, or is it...
I don't understand the difference between the two. That's what I'm not getting in what you're saying.
Okay, I'll talk to you about it later.
Okay. All right, I don't want to finish here because I want to remember to go back to the Zohar that we mentioned earlier that I skipped over. It's an interesting concept, but it's not exactly related as part of the flow. So we'll get back to that next week. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you later.